Alright, so I'm going to do another in-depth tutorial on this in-ear rig. Just how to actually use it when it comes to sending sound to the front of house. Right here, I'm going to show you the 1/4" to extra large male cables I have coming out of my audio interface. I run Ableton Live, so each track that I'm going to be playing is routed to a specific channel to come out. I labeled all of these so that way it stays consistent through this whole process. I would suggest getting some quality cables and cable management so you don't have your wires all tangled in a rat's nest. I would suggest either getting a label maker or borrowing a label maker to keep everything nice and organized. By the end of this, there's going to be so many wires in here that to have things grouped together is going to be paramount. I'm using these Velcro straps here. You can use tape or zip ties or whatever you need to keep these, grouped together. So right here, I'm looking at the labels on the actual cables. They correspond to the labels on the splitter snake. I'm just going in. We're going to keep this thing nice and consistent all the way through. So all the channels will be the same from this point forward. So just a side note, you'll notice that I have left and rights for my pads and synth leads. When you're coming out of your interface, sometimes there'll be an option to send either a mono signal or a stereo signal. That'll be in Ableton, it'll say like channel 3, or it'll give you the option of channel 3/4. That's a stereo signal. So if you have like pads or like big reverb sounds that you want to translate on the front of house, you're going to need to send both the left and right cable. So keep that in mind when you're buying everything and when you're buying your splitter snake, because it's going to be, 2 times the channels for some instruments. All right, so back here is the backside of the splitter snake. You'll notice that each channel has 2 outputs. So it's going to take the input section that we just did and duplicate that signal so that you'll have one for your in-ear mixer, and then we'll use a separate set of pigtails to go to the front of house engineer. You'll see here they're labeled exactly as the front. I went with the shorter pigtails just so it's easy to contain it inside of this box. So just go through and make sure everything lines up like the front, and we'll move on to the next part. So right here is the other side of those pigtails. It's going to be going into the in-ear mixer. They're labeled exactly the same. We're going to keep all the channels labeled the same way, just 1 through 8, from the interface all the way to the pigtails going to the engineer. It just makes things easy and consistent, and you'll see why at the end. Alright, so right here is the longer pigtails. I think I got a 25-foot 8-channel pigtail, just so I can reach whatever the front of house has as their on stage splitter. So again, what we're going to do is you'll see it's labeled the exact same way. It's got the instrument and the channel number. So we'll do that for each instrument again. I'm trying to show you everything, but it's a little tight in here. Sorry, my hands are so ashy. So just continue to plug these in, following the output number and the channels and the labels. It's just so that way on stage, if you need to turn something up for your engineer, all your channels are the same as what they have. So this is the finished product. This is the 8-channel 25-foot pigtail. We went out of Ableton to the front of our splitter snake. That signal was duplicated. One copy went to our in-ear rack mixer and the other is going to the engineer. I'll do another tutorial on how I routed my individual tracks to these channels using sends and returns.